Well, what do you think prompts a person to seek a spiritual director?
I think a person reaches a point where they begin to sense that there's something happening deep inside them that they can't identify as a therapeutic problem, so they don't need a counselor for that. And it's not just something that they want to investigate by reading about it, some kind of theological understanding, but it's something at such a deep level in them that they feel they need someone else to listen to them and listen them into awareness of what is really happening at that very deep spiritual heart level in them. And so if they know that spiritual direction exists, that there are people who are available to listen to you in that particular spiritual level of your life, and listen to you without judgment, and listen to you with a deep kind of caring for your soul and God, and a deep desire to listen with you for what that larger spirit is doing to lead you toward greater love and freedom in your life.
It seems to me that we don't do a very good job in our culture of listening to people. And so having the opportunity to meet with someone one-on-one to help bring them into greater self-awareness, that seems like it would be a very fulfilling ministry.
And there's no other relationship, I think, like that that's available to people. It's a long historic practice, but only in the last few decades has it become sort of more generally available for people at a time when they deeply need it, because there's so much in the culture that is not guiding people, where they have to go deeper to find what it is their life is about, and they come to see they're on a permanent lifetime spiritual journey, and they can't just wrap everything up at one time. So to have someone with you as an ongoing caring companion through that time, because usually you're with a director for years, it's to have someone available to listen to the very deepest heart of your being, and in a very reverential and respectful way that doesn't dictate anything to you, but just wants to listen with you for what it is that's really true and made of that love.
But when we look at spiritual direction, it seems to me, from what you have just been explaining, that spiritual direction transcends religious denominations. Could you speak a little bit more about that?
Well, I think that's especially true if you're dealing with the contemplative strand of my tradition, of Christian tradition, the Episcopal Church's tradition, as it's inherited that contemplative strand, which is simply the strand that tries to touch the deep heart of what's there beneath the words, to try to see the truth of what's given us in spiritual tradition as something that is deeper than the words about it. And even the word God becomes inadequate to talk about that deep source of awareness and experience that's in the heart of our tradition.
So I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about what you think, or how you think spiritual direction, the ministry of spiritual direction, can impact the greater common good.
Well, I think it does it on several levels. You know, the first level, in effect, is what we've been talking about, where the fact of having someone that you can come to and expose safely and vulnerably that deepest part of your being with the hope and desire for that to draw you into a deeper consciousness and a deeper freedom and a deeper compassion. That very relationship itself helps the directee to be a more caring, compassionate, in-touch person in the world, especially more in touch with their place in caring for the world, because in spiritual direction you're often trying to discern, what is it among all the things I could be doing? What is it that is my calling, now? In my family, if I'm in a family, in my work, in the community, and the social community political scene, or on a larger scale. So there's that personal shaping of that person, so to speak, that frees them to be of greater value in the world. On another level, the very quality of consciousness that they touch is one that shows life to be very interdependent, where we all belong to one another, and there are no enemies ultimately. Jesus, I think, meant it when he said, love your enemies, because he had touched the reality in his spiritual heart that there ultimately is no one that's outside of being a brother and sister to you, however you're treated, and however much you may have to resist what they do to hurt you or the world, that nonetheless you cannot deny your kinship. We share the same divine source, and we share the same energy that's made us, that divine love, however distorted it may have become.
As people become involved in this awakening of their own personhood, that then can have an effect on all global issues like peace. Now, could you take that a little bit further, if I understood that correctly?
Spiritual direction over time, along with your daily prayer and meditation and all else that you're doing to deepen your own larger identity that is so much more than our ego identity. As that's happening, we become more easily vessels of the kind of peace and actions of all kinds that are needed in the world.